channel. Thanks for joining me again. So the forecast is for clear skies tonight. We've got a couple of 100 k's to cover to get to our location. Full tank of petrol, fridge full of beer. Let's roll. Well, here we are, we finally made it. It was a very interesting trip out here, let's put it that way. So welcome to the Lost City. Yeah, I'm not really sure where the name the Lost City comes from, but just by looking around, you can sort of see that it just looks like an abandoned lost city. So I think that's where it's come from, but it was very funny getting out here. So there wasn't any phone reception out here, and the maps didn't really do its well. Didn't really do any good. We're in a state forest, so there's just tracks everywhere, as you could imagine, and it was sending me up tracks, down tracks, and anyway, we finally made it here after getting lost a few times, but it's absolutely stunning. Now, before you judge me on me cooking, I guarantee you I can take photos a little bit better than I can cook. And my wife would probably confirm that. It's a bit burnt. Anyway, so the plan tonight is we're going to shoot a full panorama over the Lost City here, and we're going to have a lot of spare time. We've got about a 50% moon, so it won't set till, you know, about midnight thereabouts. But what we can do with that moon is we can go and shoot our foreground while the moon's up, just to light that foreground up. And you know, we've obviously got to shoot a foreground separate to the sky, being that we're tracking, and we can utilize that moonlight instead of taking such long exposures or using the blue hour. We can use the light from the moon to illuminate the foreground and take our foreground that way. So yeah, we've got a lot of time to kill here. So it's a couple of tinnies, a bit of a feed, and just relax and enjoy this nice clear night until that moon goes down. So while my gourmet dinner sizzles away there, I just wanted to touch on the setup I've got here. I've had a few questions regarding the setup and how it's set up, especially around the brackets I'm using and how to utilize those for a panorama. So I'm using two Z brackets, the Move Shoot Move Alan Wallace ones. Now you could get away with using a Z bracket and a ball head, or the V bracket and a ball head. I've just chosen to use two Z brackets just to get the most, to maximize the range of motion and articulation of those brackets. Now, one of them's there purely to give me a level base to shoot a panorama from. And the second one here is to mount the camera on, obviously. Now, I've got an Arca Swiss adapter plate here that screws onto the Z bracket, and that just attaches to my L bracket. And the reason I've chosen to go with the Z bracket is on top here, if I want to shoot really high up to get the top of the panorama, I can do it now. So that's why I've chosen to go the Z bracket. Now, it's just so that the back of the Z bracket clears the tracker, clears everything else. So if I put this back down, grab my camera, screw it into the Arca Swiss plate, adapter plate, and we're good to shoot. Now, some of you might think, oh, it's a bit wobbly. That's actually just the tracker on the tripod. It's not actually the bracket here. So it's super solid, super functional, and it gives me a range of motion in every axis I need it to. And this cable here, for you guys that have picked out every time I've got a cable coming out, that's just a battery pack, so I can plug the camera into a power bank, because some of you would already obviously know that Sony cameras, especially the older generations, are absolutely garbage with battery life. So to shoot a panorama for hours and hours on end, super long exposures, you just can't do it with a standard battery. So I've got the case relay, battery relay there, and it just plugs into a power bank. Well, winter is definitely on its way. It is bloody freezing. Yeah, you'd think I'd know better. This afternoon when I was driving in here, a few of the roads around here had signs that they use throughout the winter that mentioned snow, ice, all that sort of stuff. So you'd think the penny would have dropped that this is a pretty cold place from time to time, but it didn't, and it's bloody freezing. Anyway, the foreground's all shot. We done that when the moon was still up. The moon's set now. So the exposures I done there were f5.6, ISO 1000. I was doing 2-minute exposures. Now that sounds a little bit strange. It's a bit weird for a Astro foreground to be shot like that, but I did have the moon out, so it was pretty bright. I went to 5.6 to try and get a little bit more depth of fields. There was stuff pretty close to the camera and obviously the horizon, so I was trying to get as much in focus as I could. 2-minute exposures was the pure fact that I didn't want to be out there any longer than I had to be. And obviously ISO was just to balance it all out. So yeah, normally I try and not move my camera between the foreground and the sky. So I'll just leave it all set up and shoot it and blend it together so it's a true representation of what's in front of me. But tonight we had a little bit of a hazard we had to contend with. So you'll see in the final image, my tripod position for the foreground was right on the edge of a cliff. And it's a couple of 100 meters drop straight down. Now, I didn't feel real comfortable there, I'll tell you. And the sooner I could get out of there, the better. So, trying to be a responsible adult and all, having a couple of fizzy drinks, you know, I thought I better get back away from the edge to shoot the sky, so I'm not spending 2 hours or whatever standing right on the edge of a cliff. So I've moved back up here. I've moved back away from the edge a little bit, and I tell you, I feel a lot more comfortable here than down there. So it's time to shoot the sky. Now, behind me, about 150 k's behind me, is Sydney, and Sydney's a fair old town, and there's a fair balloon of light pollution around it. So, and also there's a couple of other little towns around here that are throwing off a fair bit of light pollution. So the sky's pretty bright and pretty washed out. So my normal go-to settings, they're just not going to work. It's just too bright. So I'm going to shoot at f4 tonight. I'm going to do ISO 2000. I'm going to do 2-minute exposures. That seems to be okay, but I'll just have to pay really close attention that I don't blow out the highlights in that light pollution. So tonight's rig, old trusty, old faithful here, A7R2 Astro modded. I'm shooting on the 35mm Samyang 1.4, Skywatcher Star Adventurer mount, move, shoot, move, Z brackets, and the case relay power and the whole thing. So yeah, let's rip in and get it done. Well, that's another one in the bag. Done and dusted. I tell you what, I can't wait to go and get into a warm sleeping bag. Anyway, I'm a little bit anxious about how this image is going to come out. This is such an epic place. Sitting up here on this ridge line, you know, especially in the afternoon when you can actually see down in there properly, down in the canyon there, all the rock formations. This place is just epic. So I hope I can do this place justice with the image we shot here tonight. You guys already know if it come out all right because you've seen the thumbnail, so it's no surprise to you, but I'll wait and see. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. I've got some great content planned, so subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate those guys who have. So yeah, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on what's coming up. And I think we're going to call it a night. So until next time, cheers guys.